unapologetic atheist interracial couple's progressive response to the fucking internet.
Hello and welcome to Unapologetics. I am Brently.
And I'm Nikki. Welcome back. Happy 2021, everybody.
Yeah.
It was so nice to be in a new year, new beginnings, new ideas, new places to be. Oh, wait, no places to be.
No, still can't do that stuff.
Still very much.
Well, we'll get there, though. We'll get there within the year. So
I'm
hoping.
Yeah, you know what? I should say still places to be, because you and I have definitely been up in our being outside game. And trying to.
You can still go to parks, y'all. You just got to run when you see people. That's just run. Don't even just flee. You know?
I will full on, I can be on a trail and see somebody 2 lengths ahead of me and full on dart through to a side area, another area. I'm just I don't want no smoke.
Yeah. It's
I don't want that whole moment of will she, won't she move out of my way, or will she move out of my way? Does this person believe COVID is real? That whole thing you have to go through in your mind. Don't play yourself. And just move.
It ends up being weird too, because I swear, you know how sometimes when you're walking past somebody and they're oh, I'm going to go to this side, and you're and you go to that side, and they're okay. Oh no, it's funny because that happens, but from 12 feet away.
Yeah.
You know, and you're which way are we? Oh shit! What's
exactly?
Really awkward looking.
That is my new thing is, how early do I need to get up to be able to go to the parks I want to go to and avoid people the most?
Yeah.
And it's so great too, because I'm sure I don't know if this is around everywhere, but in for our local parks, if you just put in Google, it'll tell you the most populous times. So it'll tell you 6 a.m. obviously very few people are there, as opposed to 6 p.m. when everybody's there, because they're doing that before dinner or after dinner walk.
Yeah.
So
you kind of figure out the times. You know what I mean?
6 a.m. is
very
a good
helpful,
bet.
though. Yeah, exactly.
It's a good bet.
It's anytime Sunday morning when everybody's at church. That's a good one.
You know what? You're right.
Because usually
there aren't a ton of people.
Sunday mornings. 1 o'clock, all the church people go to the parks. You know, they go out to eat and go to a park. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, we did not bring you here to talk about parks, even though that is one of our favorite things in the universe.
Yeah.
But happy 2021, regardless. Yeah. We hope that you are not punishing yourself with a ton of resolutions to make yourself feel like shit when 2022 rolls in.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Keep them realistic, y'all.
Yes. So I was reading this Substack. His name is Saeed Jones. He is a poet and a writer, and he was writing about, in his house, his family always had determinations. So instead of resolutions, determinations. And I kind of like that, because it makes it a little bit more action oriented. I like that. Because I resolve to I am resolute and come on.
No. But I'm determined to do this thing. Yeah, I like that better too.
And it's a little bit more it can be anything. So, do you have any determinations this year, or any determination?
Like I said, most of the time when I do resolutions and stuff, they're always so fucking unrealistic. And then, like you said, I always feel badly about it a week after, So,
and then you go into 2022 making the same fucking resolutions. I could definitely do this.
It's I've been supposed to do this for the past 7 years now. And it's, that's this year I'm not putting any actual rules on it. I just want more structure to my day, and any steps that I can take to accomplish that, I'll be happy with. But, I just want a bit more structured day. A lot of times I just, I've got a lot of time in the mornings and stuff because I work evenings. And so it's a lot of it's just me thinking about what should I do today? I don't, I'm watching Girlfriends and stuff like that, it's just, it's out there. And
so much Girlfriends.
And, went through that whole season in a couple weeks.
Series,
I'm sorry.
Entire series.
It's awesome though.
Like, I'm in here working and my girlfriends, oh my goodness, over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
And he was having the time of his life. It's hilarious. I told you you would like it. I told you you would like Girlfriends.
You did.
And isn't it so much better than Friends?
I gotta say, it is. I mean, as far as like,
okay. So I don't want to say better, because better is not right. Like,
it's different.
It's different because Friends is funny. I'm not going to take that from Friends. Friends is funny, but it's like, it's amazing how when you watch compare it to Girlfriends, how basically Friends is a bunch of infantilizing of 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds versus Girlfriends is like real live adults doing things.
Right. Yeah. It's so much more realistic. It's so much, the plots are so much more like just good plots, like, you know, Friends
interesting.
Interesting plots, because it's almost like we were
they
talking
have
about
stakes even.
Yeah, seriously, and like actual drama, and it, like all the drama in Friends is like it gets close to, or like all the writing and stuff. It's like it gets close to doing something that's actually deep, and then they always do a joke and just get out of it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we were almost deep for. It's like, nope, making a joke, and now we're out.
This is too much for me. I gotta go.
Yeah. But Girlfriends, no, they lean into the drama. And it's very, very good.
So what's your like action step that you're going to take to have more structure in your day? Sorry, I was like thinking about, why do we get to Girlfriends and Friends?
Well, yeah, because I know.
There we go.
Well, no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a little list of just things that I need to do during the week. And then I'm going to set a portion of time, because I do need some TV time in the morning. I could just come out, wake up, get my coffee, my kratom, and just like, you know, drink that shit and then watch TV, wake up, and then have like maybe an hour and a half block that's like, that's the time to do the things that I set for myself to do. Yeah. Whether it's like doing some sit-ups, push-ups, and stuff like that, or doing the dishes, vacuuming, whatever, you know, whatever it is that needs to be done. I'm just going to have a list, and I'm just going to go through systematically and do that list during that portion of time. And that way, each day I don't feel like crap. Because like some days I like would do a whole lot, and then other days I do literally nothing, you know. And so I just kind of like to even it out a bit, you know.
Am I allowed to make a suggestion?
Can I offer some feedback?
No, but I promise this is not any. It's not like that. I'm just gonna say, also in that hour and a half, it can be just like something fun, maybe too.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, like
you're not allowed to have fun on work days. I mean, what?
Like that.
Okay, underachiever. Like
I'm just saying, and maybe not like I just, you know, like it can be like writing a song, maybe, or playing the guitar, or you know, just
that's true.
Whatever, you know, because I think that's the thing sometimes. Because my determination is actually really close to that, but like in the opposite way. Because you're kind of like the no structure guy, and I'm like the too structured woman,
like overly structured. Like I know I always get her a planner for anything, like any time that you give gifts, because I know she's going to use it. You know, and she loves the planners.
Yes, I do. I'm a planner. But this year my determination is actually to be a little bit less of a planner, to remember that I'm a being and not just like a doer. Like I am here to just be, and that's cool too. Yeah. And so taking it a little bit, you know, one step at a time, and not constantly writing in the overwhelm. And honestly,
so both of us basically just got to meet in the middle. That's
exactly.
Meet in the middle between the two of us.
You know, part of the reason we couldn't always get to shows last year was because I had too many fucking things going on. And so then, you know, I have all of those things that I'm doing. And then by the time it's like, okay, we got to sit down and do this creative thing, I am spent. You know, it's just like, all I want to do is sit and like play short order cook video games. Don't know why I'm really into those, but I guess I just was a short order cook in a past life. But anyway,
pretend like
so I'm just, this year I am really trying to live in the moment and just see my life. Good. And not just like do my life.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Experience it.
Yeah, like
slow down, experience
exactly.
It. Yeah, I love it.
So yeah, that is definitely my determination this year. So yeah, I think that'll be fun.
Yeah. So happy 2021, y'all. Happy New Year. You know, Christmas.
Tell us your determinations on Facebook. Let us know what y'all are up to this year.
Post them in the Secret Underground Party if you want, and you know, you can also put them on our page, or you can just message me on Facebook too. Either way.
That'd be fun too.
You know?
And we would be happy to talk about them.
Yeah, I'm
next
happy
show.
to talk to listeners.
Yes, that is always fun. So, I meant to tell you about something. Okay. So something this week made me absolutely cackle, and I was like, I gotta tell you. So did you, you know about Peacock, right?
It's like a new streaming service for NBC, I want to say.
Yes, that is
Peacock one,
exactly
right?
it.
Yeah, okay.
And it's the next reason why folks are just kind of like throwing their hands in the air and like, fuck this shit. Give me my cable box back. I will pay
my Fire
Spectrum or Time Warner, whatever I need to pay them, because this is getting out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
So we got Peacock coming, which I honestly at the beginning was like, I'll get that, because I am not big into NBC shows.
Yeah, you really don't
I
like
really
NBC.
am not. Like, once Community was done, once Office was done.
That is NBC.
Yeah, once
okay.
Park and Rec was
That's
done.
like the best show ever.
I was pretty much done too. Like, I do like their like, sometimes I like their dramas that they do. I watched Parenthood. That was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I love it so much. But high drama. But I haven't watched This Is Us because, again,
No,
I was
I'm
like
not doing
spent
it.
by Parenthood. I was like, I can't do any more high drama.
See, I'm almost doing the Amy with a Y thing that she did with Die Hard. You know, I'm doing that with This Is Us. Like, I don't care.
I can never do it.
I don't care. How
I
many
know too much
people tell
about
me
it.
It's awesome.
Exactly. Like, but I know too much about it because it's constantly being covered everywhere. So I'm just like, nothing y'all are talking about on this show makes me want to watch it. I'm gonna have to look forward to somebody dying in a fire. I'm gonna have to look forward to like someone struggling terribly with like body image issues. Like, I ain't got time to be like watching real life.
No, exactly right. Yeah, and if I want to like cry and shit, I'll just watch Queer Eye, dude. Like, I'm not trying to, you know what I mean? Like,
I want a happy cry.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, if anybody needs a happy cry, go watch Palms. It is on
that was so good.
Amazon Prime right now. I think it is Prime Video. But it's Diane Keaton and a bunch of other actresses, older actresses, and they start a cheerleading squad. It is the funniest shit. It's just so unexpectedly funny and then heartwarming.
It's even got what's her name from Cheers? The
Rhea Perlman.
Rhea Perlman.
Rhea Perlman. Go watch Palms. It is
it's so good.
Adorable.
Awesome.
Anyway, so Peacock, right?
Yeah.
So they finally came out this week and let everybody know what their subscription plans were going to be, right?
Oh, good. I was wondering.
And apparently they are basing their entire subscription service off of how much of The Office you want to watch.
What? Wait. What? Repeat that. Repeat that sentence. What? What do you mean? How?
So wait.
How does that work?
The Office will be leaving.
How much do you like The Office? How much are you willing to pay?
So The Office will be leaving Netflix and going to Peacock. So Peacock, here's the breakdown, okay? So, if you want to watch The Office seasons 1 and 2, plus thousands of hours of movies, TV shows, news, and pop culture.
And all the other shit, whatever.
So that's free, okay?
Oh, that's free, okay.
Then for $4.99, you can unlock every episode of The Office, plus extended cuts with never before seen footage.
Like new Pokemon monsters. You can unlock the Charizard.
Okay, and then the kicker, for $9.99, you get all of The Office.
Oh.
And everything in premium without ads.
Oh, without ads. Okay.
So I am.
It all depends on your Office viewing experience. That's like what you want out of that.
Look, baby, I did not realize The Office still had this much commercial and cultural relevance.
It's been on Netflix for fucking ever. I've watched it like 17 times.
I had no idea.
Good.
And they're banking on you wanting to watch it an 18th time. So that's why this is this expensive. I just had no idea. And then I'm like, but wait, aren't the numbers skewed? Because they're basing this off of how many people have watched it streaming currently.
Right.
But like, part of the reason we've watched it this many times currently is because we pay for a subscription to Netflix, which also gives us all these other things.
Yeah.
And we can easily watch through The Office. I don't know who's finna get an app just for
The Office? That's so odd. Like, who are these people? Like, don't get me wrong, it's a great fucking show. I love
Excellent.
it. But not enough to pay, like, $4.99 a month just for The Office. You know,
Listen,
it's so weird.
This is, I think, one of the things we can be very thankful for in 2021 is being on the cutting edge of the wild, wild west of streaming, because eventually all of this shit is going to topple.
Yeah,
you know
this
it
is
is.
not going to keep going this way. You know it.
But we are all
Some
on a wild
conglomerate.
ride together, and that's something we can say we did in our generation.
Right, exactly. There's going to be some sort of like Lego. You know how like Lego like has all the basically Marvel, Indiana Jones, like it has everything. But Lego is that's what's going to come in and just take over all the others. It's just going to make an agreement with some huge multinational conglomerate.
I mean, let's
of
be real.
media
Disney's just going to own
distribution.
it all. Disney's just going to own it all.
Right? Yeah, yeah. I could see that. Or
Oh,
Time
my
Warner or
goodness.
some shit.
I love how I'm laughing about Monopoly. Monopolies.
But that's
Woohoo!
what's gonna happen, and
Yeah.
then the internet's gonna become a lot more limited. I think over the time.
Yeah. So, the internet is having a communal cackle at Peacock. What are you doing? I am anxious now to see how this all works out in a year from now. Because
Yeah.
you might have made some assumptions that will not bear out to be true.
Right? Yeah. Oh, I think they definitely made
Like,
some
people are
assumptions.
just going to buy the DVD or the
Yeah.
Blu-ray.
and watch it on their own whenever they want, forever.
Yeah, that's wild.
That is funny.
That
Holy
is
shit!
quite wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you ready to get into some headlines?
Yeah, let's do some headlines.
Unapologetic headlines.
So it's 2021, and I mean, I'm not keeping score, but it seems to me that we've started the year with like terrorist attacks within
Two,
like
yeah,
the
two
two
of them.
terrorist attacks within like 2 weeks.
Jesus.
Because you know that whole like Nashville bombing thing happened, but
Yeah, remember that?
yeah, we're not even talking about that today. What we are going to talk about is, you know, that little insurrection that happened on January 6th, on Wednesday. So it seems that Trump had a rally, and those people ended up storming our nation's Capitol building. A woman died within the process of storming the building, and then several police officers were injured. And then once night came, more people died. 4 more people died, including another law enforcement officer, I believe. And
Well, he was basically beaten to death. Yeah.
yeah, so tons of injuries. You know, the Capitol building was ransacked. Nancy Pelosi's office, as well as the office of other Democrats, ransacked, urinated, blood places, lots of close calls.
Yeah, it was just absolute insanity, you know.
Yeah, and when I say close call, I mean close call. Apparently, it was within like a minute between getting everyone in the Capitol building secured and the Capitol being breached.
Damn. So,
Yeah.
like, they just made it out the room when they made it in the room, basically.
Pretty much.
It's like a movie or something.
It was razor
Wow.
thin.
Jesus Christ.
So here's what we're not going to do is sit here and talk about like exactly what happened from beginning to end, because I think, you know, we've all been paying attention to it. We all have as much information as each other. And I think there's so much that we're going to find out within weeks. Right. So I don't want to interrogate that stuff too much, but I do want to talk about a couple things. Like, first, let's talk about some questions surrounding what the fuck went wrong. And then where are we going?
Yeah, where do we
here?
go from here? Yeah.
And okay, so first, I am just so shook that the world watched how unprepared we are for anything.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I mean, because that was so fast.
Yeah.
That was too fast.
It was too fast.
I saw
it was too easy.
I swear, I was like watching it as it happened, basically, like through Twitter, and there was people that were there, and they had their phones, and they were filming and posting it, you know, and doing live tweets and shit. And I swear, as soon as they scaled that fucking wall, you know, and they all started to kind of pile up on the top of those stairs and stuff, like they passed all the barriers and got to the actual building. It was like it was less than 5 minutes before they were inside. You know, I got like an update and they're like, they're inside now. And I was like, fucking what?
It is.
Where the fuck are the cops? What the fuck? Like, where's the fucking security? Like, where's the military guys outside? What the fuck? They knew this. How did this happen?
Yeah. Especially because it seemed like there were precautions being taken. Because, okay, first of all, we already had a preview of what this was all going to look like if it went down. And that was when that shit went down in Michigan.
Yeah.
With the governor and the Capitol building being breached there.
Right.
Like, it was obvious that, okay, this is something they are not afraid to do. This is something we should potentially be prepared for. And so I don't understand why that wouldn't have been a plan. But then you were telling me about how earlier in the week, DC had already put up a shit ton of signage. Like, you cannot have guns in this zone. Don't even think about bringing them.
Communism. No. I'm just, that freaked them all out right away. You know what I mean? Like, I can't bring my AR-15? What the fuck?
Is that a fear that in communism you're going to have to give up your guns?
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, because they think that the citizens shouldn't, they think communism says that citizens shouldn't have the ability to rise up against the government, which means not owning any weapons to even be able to do that. They think that's part of the whole thing.
I did not recognize that at all.
That's a big part of it.
That is, I did not recognize that.
Fucking idiotic, but whatever.
Gotta read into that more, I guess. So I guess they already had an understanding that January 6th could mean that dangerous things were going to happen to go and do this, but then you don't. Okay, like, where was that whole cohort of security that existed for Trump to like walk across the street and hold a Bible backwards? Right. Where was that entire cohort? Of law enforcement.
Dude, there was like hundreds of them for that, and they just like gassed everybody and just got them all away from it like really fast too. And a little rubber bullet, everything. They brought out the fucking works. You know,
that to me is, I am just floored that. And then you think about the actual security of the Capitol building. So I found a random, tweet thread of a journalist whose father was a Capitol police officer for years, Black Capitol police officer, and he's been retired, but he worked as a Capitol police officer for 37 years. He's like, that level of security was a crime. Like, that is not normal.
Right.
That is like, we do more to prepare for like when Louis Farrakhan comes, but even still, like, that it is not supposed to be this bare.
No.
So I don't know if like COVID is affecting the situation, because that is a part of something we're going to have to take into consideration, because obviously the whole point of COVID is to have fewer bodies in contact with each other. So that very well may have been the thing.
Sure, but wasn't COVID a thing when he marched across the street with the Bible? Wasn't COVID still a thing at that point?
You are correct, Brent, but we're talking about Black people. So,
so they're like, no, these are real terrorists. Okay,
Yeah.
These are the really scary ones.
This is more important than COVID. So, but apparently, but we'll see. But I don't know if that was like affecting schedules, maybe. I don't know. But then there's also the issue of, okay, we got some guards, some cops or guards that were in there taking selfies. Some that appear to be opening up gates for folks. So now it's a question of, well, what really happened?
I don't know. I mean, and it also could be that the couple security people that they had are Trump loyalists that were like, I'm actually with you guys, And so if they humanize the mob, then they can easily be coaxed into just letting them in. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think, I absolutely agree with you.
That
and
could
I think
be. I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm saying.
I think you have some evidence of that because they were able to just be in there for 4 fucking hours.
Right? What the fuck?
Can you imagine being huddled into a closet for that long?
Oh my God. Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Can you imagine? And you have no information coming. You don't know what's going on.
No, you're just seeing your phone.
There could be armed people around the corner and you have no idea.
Right? Because you're seeing all the videos on your phone. I'm sure they were sitting there looking at their phone, seeing the updates like, oh, fuck, we're fucked.
People on the Senate floor, just like a bunch of randoms just hanging out. And I think that's the thing, too, that has been wild to watch is like, when you go to the Capitol, you get this feeling of just like, it is like, it's overwhelming sometimes how large everything is. Like,
Right.
and when you think about, especially like in the, you know, because we have big buildings, and if you're from a big city, you're used to it, you know, but like, I was from a place where there weren't a lot of, you know, really nice, large, stately sort of places. You know, it's the South.
Right,
There
yeah,
are some, but it's usually just like
One court.
fucking the old plantations, because we don't, you know, build cities that make sense in the South. That's who does that?
We've never done that.
Like, but anyway, like just that the sheer scale of the buildings, and you know, like the just history of it.
Yeah.
It just feels so large and so important. And there's just this almost reflexive reverence of not necessarily like, oh my God, I love my government so much. Oh, USA. But just like, wow, people built this. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
this is like 200 years old. Or
yeah. Like this is the
300
result of collective action. Like this is, and this feeling of like ownership, you know, and just, I don't know. There is that sense there. At least there was that for me, being there. And so knowing that a bunch of people just were like, I'm going to piss on this.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. I'm a patriot. Let me pee all over the Capitol.
Like, apparently,
What?
They were all over the fucking monuments and stuff. And it's like,
Hanging on them and stuff.
okay,
The fuck?
I didn't get it. And I'm like, okay, so even if you feel like you own it, like this is my house and I get to do what I want, do you piss on your own furniture?
Right? Yeah, that's not what you do with your own shit.
Do you just ransack your own rooms? Do you just like walk across, you know, like what are you doing? Do you just hop in the shower with like other members of your family to show that it's mine, I get to do what I want? Like,
Yeah.
if you don't have any respect for that's something that's yours, then what do you respect?
Right. Do you respect anything?
At all.
Right? I don't think it was about respect ever. It was about, you know, being a bunch of assholes because they were mad about an election that they lost, you know?
Which was a lie.
Yeah. Well, the lie was that they thought they won and it was being stolen from them, which is such an obvious fucking lie, dude. Do you all follow any fucking news? Did you see the thing like with Rudy Giuliani at the fucking Four Seasons, you know, lawn and maintenance thing? You know?
And I'm going to tell you, Brent, you know
what
what's
the fuck are you guys doing?
You know what's more scary than any of that is realizing that this is no longer, I mean, it hasn't been rational for a really long time, but we have to stop looking at Donald Trump as just some like unruly kindergartner that you need to put in timeout. And then the more he's in timeout, the more the other classmates will figure out that you don't behave this way and then everything will be fine. And we got to stop seeing him that way and seeing him more as like, he is a cult leader who has groomed a group of followers that interpret literally everything negative that happens to him as a cause for a fight.
Yeah.
And so
and believing he's done nothing wrong and he's just trying to,
Nothing.
you know, he's just trying to do what he's supposed to do and everybody's just being unfair to him, really.
everyone,
You know.
there is not a single piece of evidence that seems to be, you know, definitive in them saying, you know what, this is wrong, I got to get out. And
Yeah.
we all knew this.
It's fucking obvious.
We knew this
so
from
stupid.
before the election. People were talking about the fact that Donald Trump wouldn't be able to accept any election results outside of him winning because his ego simply cannot handle it. His
He's too
narcissism
weak.
simply cannot handle it. He is incapable of being gracious. That is not something that he is capable of showing or doing. And so what happened? Exactly what he knew. Okay, we have a cabal of people who believe that no matter what, this is a stolen election. Now the question is, okay, so we have our president up here doing seditionist shit. Okay.
Yeah,
Obvious,
absolutely.
clear, right? But what the fuck is with these senators and representatives that wanted to join on the Titanic? Like, why? What? I mean, I just am so confused by how anyone could see the future, see the winds. Are these senators and representatives just as delusional? Because this entire
so,
time,
yeah.
I was thinking they were being political animals.
Right.
And now I'm like, wait, have they been conscripted in the cult as well?
I think so. Yeah. I think they've been absorbing the same media. They've been reading the same tweets. They've been seeing the same fake fucking the conspiracy theory memes and shit. And if all you're and see the problem with like memes like that and stuff is they can be very convincing because they're showing you so little. I mean, if I went and rented a windowless van and put a box full of paper next to it, I could take a picture of that and go, look, here's the stolen ballots, and make that a meme, and they'd believe it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They would say that, oh, there's the evidence right there. You know? And even though you can't really see anything from this, it's because they already want to believe it, you know, so badly. You know, I think they say it's like you're 7 times more likely to believe something that's false if you would like to believe it. You know, like you don't need much, you know, evidence.
I know, but it just seems like you would want extraordinary evidence to overturn an entire fucking election.
I mean,
bro.
we're talking like 7 million votes, right? I mean,
like
that's huge. Like, how the fuck do you even do that?
Big deal, especially and what was so striking about it was like seeing someone like Josh Hawley, a senator from Missouri, stand up there and want to disenfranchise states he's not even from.
Yeah, because they're mad at their state process, but each state gets to decide their own process. So who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you? What are you doing? What are you doing here, man? It's like Texas telling them, oh, you can't change the voting laws at the last second. Yeah, the fuck we can. It's our state. You stay in Texas, okay? Just shut up. Just worry about Texas.
And it's like, okay, I think there's a place, like, obviously, we need to be able to criticize other states' shit, but, like, right now and right at this second is not it.
Right. No.
It's not it. And also, it's definitely not it if it's based on bullshit like, oh, the election was stolen. No, it was not.
No, it wasn't.
You're lying. You really do. Like, they're calling for, these patriots are calling for a quote unquote legitimate audit. And the reality is, you're a part of a cult. There is nothing that we can legitimately do that you would accept.
You would never accept it. Yeah, even
unless we somehow made the election go to Donald Trump. That's what they're expecting.
Yeah, and it would if they did some sort of audit like that and we let the little cult come in, they'd be like, okay, let's look at this ballot. Oh, it's for Biden. Oh, look, I don't like this signature. Throw that one up. Yeah. And, you know, like that's how it would have to go. Otherwise, you know, they wouldn't accept it. You know what I mean? It has to be unfair, you know, in order for them to accept it.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable.
They just want it tilted in their favor. Like, just a little bit. We can just win.
I only need 11,000 votes.
Exactly. That's it.
Just find them, please.
Just find those. Let's just find those. And what's really worrying me, there was an article, because listen, the world kept turning, and on Thursday and Friday, Republicans still had their winter meeting here in Florida, because we're now the epicenter of all this shit.
Awesome.
Isn't it?
That's so great.
Isn't
Such a great state to be in.
It seems like we're like coming into our own, and it seems that our new moniker isn't like the Sunshine State where you can retire, but instead
that's probably
the place where all Republicans go that cannot show their face in any other state because they have standards, and we seemingly don't. Anyway,
we don't.
So in Capitol, a GOP crisis at the RNC meeting, a Trump celebration. So they had their winter meeting. All of the Republicans that were there, it was a lot of big ones. It was Governor Kristi Noem, Nikki Haley, who both spoke, Ronna McDaniel, who's the RNC chair, and also low-key Mitt Romney's niece, who knew? And I'm just like, this makes me even more like, stop telling me that Mitt Romney's mad. I don't care.
Who the fuck? Yeah.
I don't care that Mitt Romney's mad. I don't care that Vice President Pence is mad. They all should be very mad because the president just tried to get them killed.
Yeah. They should be mad at themselves. They should do the fucking Chris Farley stupid. Because like, this is on you, you fucking idiot.
Like, just,
what do you think was going to happen?
Like, honestly, yes, like you should be fucking angry, but you know what you should do now? Soul seek. Figure out how you're complicit in like allowing the Republican Party to keep doubling down on bullshit that will trust me, continue to make these kind of things happen.
Absolutely.
Because you need to start looking for some cult, new religious tradition professors and scholars and get some information on how this is going to get much worse before it gets better.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so at the rally, at the meeting, almost no one had anything negative to say about Trump. In fact, nothing was on the record negative said about Trump.
Wow.
Nikki Haley said a little bit something, but not really. Bill Palatucci, a committeeman from New Jersey, said, this room, they're in denial, and that's on the record.
What do they mean they're in denial?
They do not want to accept that President Trump just like caused a fucking insurrection.
Oh, okay.
They don't like, they're not seeing it that way at all.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because we think, all we got to do is get rid of Trump and everything will be great. But that's not actually the case, because apparently in 2020, a lot of the people who were in charge of the RNC, which were, usually the people who are in charge are like, big party political people in the state and like big money people in the state. Those are usually the folks running the different committees in each state. But apparently for the 2020 run, ahead of that, they outvoted like a lot of those types of people and replaced them with Trump loyalists, because they wanted to ensure that basically no one ran against nobody primaried Trump ahead of the 2020 election.
Right. Okay.
So basically the committee, the RNC now, is filled with basically no one except Trump loyalists.
Cult followers, yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
And it's interesting.
That's terrifying. That's such fucking... That right there, that is such like dictator shit. That's what dictators do.
Yeah.
They don't care like how much the people like that representative. They care how loyal that representative is to the dictator. And then, and if you're not, okay, well then we'll get somebody that is, and that's a dictator move. Anyway, I'm sorry, continue.
No, you're absolutely correct. But I think what's really sad is the reality is this isn't going to go away. Terry Lathan, the Alabama GOP chair, the reporter asked her if she felt like Trump had any blame whatsoever for the insurrection, and she said absolutely not.
What? He's been building this up for like fucking ever.
Listen, this is great. Retta Hamilton, a committee woman from Arkansas, she said, "What was your reaction to Black Lives Matter looting and robbing and killing people?" So, and she did not answer the question at all.
Sorry, that's not what I asked.
Like, it's like that.
Did you hear the question?
Sir, this is the Wendy's. Like, what the fuck? That's not what I asked at all. Right. Anyway, so basically it comes down to this. Paul Reynolds is a Republican committeeman from Alabama. He said, "We can't exist without the people he brought to the party. He's changed the direction of the party. We're a different party because of the people that came with him, and they make us a better party."
They make you a better party?
That's what he believes.
What the fucking... They just stormed a building. They stormed a fucking a government building to stop a legislative process.
Yeah.
Because they didn't like the results of an election.
Yeah.
Anti-democratic. Like, oh my God.
So when you see all of these Republican members of Congress and the Senate, Senate House members being like, "Oh, we just need to," it was just a small riot. It was just a wee riot. Look, it was a wee riot. And
only 5 people died, okay?
Is move on completely. We don't need to hold anybody accountable. They've all learned their lesson, which is do not play with insurrection, and do not be a fascist. And they've learned their lesson. At least I'm sure that's what Susan Collins believes. Believes, right?
Yeah.
And we just can move on now. And to that, I say absolute bullshit.
No. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
No.
What are you talking about?
That's unfucking believably stupid.
It is like these people do you even have like any sense of your own safety and preservation?
Right.
You could have been killed.
Right. They literally were trying to kill whoever.
There were IEDs found.
They were fucking a noose. There was a noose in the front
Gallows.
of the fucking... And gallows. Like, what the fuck? What were they?
Zip ties.
Zip ties.
Molotov cocktails.
Like, this was not a protest.
They were ready to kill you.
They were doing, and there was people like wearing shirts that said the 2021 Civil War. That's what they thought they were doing.
And that was the one of the few least offensive fucking shirts there were. There was also folks wearing 6 MWE shirts, which basically is the 6 million wasn't enough t-shirts. And I'm gonna let you figure out what the fuck that means. Like, this is the kind of, these are the groups of people that were coming together. Wow. Not to mention you had the Gaston flag, of course. You had the so many of the like Blue Lives Matter fucking flags, those fascist flags, you know, tons of Punisher shit everywhere.
Right. What the fuck is the Punisher thing? Man, that's so fucking stupid.
Yeah. And they marched into our fucking Capitol with that goddamn Southern flag.
Yeah.
Do y'all see now why we got to get rid of the Confederate flag? Do you understand now? Like, because, you know, it's hard sometimes for people to see things from the perspective of Black people because too many people just don't see us as human beings. All right. Let's move forward. Do you see now how you can't have an alternative flag in a country and think that you have fucking unity under one single flag? Right. And also, did you notice how ridiculous it was that there was almost no actual American flags amongst all those people who are purportedly patriots?
They were all Trump flags. In fact, they took down the big ass fucking Capitol building flag. They took it down and put a big ass fucking Trump flag and a Southern flag. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Symbolism. Where's the symbologist when we need him?
Right.
But it's just Jesus. How it is. Like, weren't there like some police officers that were getting beaten with Blue Lives Matter flags? Why am I laughing? It's not funny.
I mean, that kind of is sort of funny, but I mean, just to be honest.
But it's just
purely for comedy's sake. That is kind of funny.
Sometimes when we've been doing this show now for years.
Yeah.
And
3.5 years.
It is amazing to me how, and it's not just, you know, like, it's just, this is just knowledge, right? Like, we've all known that flag has been bullshit this entire time.
Yeah.
And like, people are like, no. And like the amount of money and time and effort all these people have put into mounting that flag. And then you see images where it's being used against like a law enforcement officer. And it's just kind of like, thank you, universe.
Right?
Like,
you proved my point for me.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Now, they're in a cult, so they're still not going to see it.
No, they'll never see God, they can't see
that. It's only for it's just ours.
I know. This is what's so crazy about this.
It's just cathartic for us.
Oh God.
Which is like that's becoming just being an American now, where it's just like some people are just in their own universe. Yeah. So what can we do, right? I really feel like Josh Hawley and General Zod, Ted Cruz. Absolutely.
He does look like General Zod in the comics anyway.
He absolutely needs to be they both should be expelled.
Absolutely.
I mean, I really think every single person who initially signed on should be expelled, but I'd be happy for just the top choices. Like Hawley for sure, though. Hawley for sure. Just for that goddamn fist bump alone. Not like, nevertheless, like all the other terrible things he engaged in, especially standing there after all that shit went down, you still stood there and tried to invalidate Pennsylvania's votes after the fact. And you used the word irregardless, which let us all know.
That was it for me. I was like, fuck this guy in the fucking face.
No! What?
I'm just kidding. Obviously. And I hate that fucking word. It's a non-fucking word. It's not a
Brent's
word.
Classes.
God damn it.
Elitist, y'all.
Irregardless. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Anyway, really would like to see him gone. I don't know, man. This has just been... It is really hard to figure out. Anyway, expulsion for these senators. Next, President Trump. I absolutely think he should be impeached.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You have to. Otherwise, we set a precedent that this is like something that just merits a little slap on the wrist and we got to get unity. So go ahead. It's not that big of it. No, this is a fucking huge deal and people need to be held responsible.
100%.
Otherwise, we're just like inviting everybody to fucking do it again.
That's it. And please do not. There's going to be a ton of stories that come out in the next month or two with all these people crying because they've lost their jobs, which of course means they're going through foreclosure and this and this and this and this. But at the end of the day, y'all, people, like, seriously, people are losing their whole ass houses because of charges, not even conviction, charges. Do not think for one moment this is an injustice that we need to care about at all. We just don't. We don't.
No.
We don't have to.
They actually did it.
Have consequences.
Yeah.
Period.
Right.
They have consequences. Like, what? There is no way in which you could participate. And listen, do I understand that a lot of these people were doing this for clout chasing? Absolutely. A shit ton of these people were doing it just to be able to stream it, just for the pics, just for the clout. And you know what? You will be going to prison just for clout.
Clout.
I don't know. I don't want people to go, like, if you did something nonviolent, I don't want you to go to prison forever. But at the end of the day, you have to account for this. This is burglary.
Yeah. But I mean,
this is kidnapping.
You still took part in something that got 5 people killed. You know, I mean, so I don't think they should all go for murder or whatever, but but you still have to have enough consequences to keep people from doing this shit again.
For no reason.
For a lie. Over a fucking lie.
But it is a lie.
And an obvious lie.
It's a lie in which you have no recourse. Like, do you really think that if it's like they're like, just give us our way and then we'll move on? But it's like, do you understand, if you get your way, then there's going to be a whole group of people that are very angry and obviously going to want to do something as well. Like, you don't get to just... Well,
just makes the other side be like, we should just do that next time. You know what I mean?
It would be awful, obviously, but it would just be... I mean, I'm like, how do you not see that your actions will just lead to ever more escalating action?
Right. Yeah. It's like, it starts a glass war, and the shards are going to start another glass war. I mean, that's like, that's why those wars never work out good, because nobody ever can say,
that's why war ain't good.
Okay, you got me. You won. You got me. All right.
Listen, our show is so hard hitting. War ain't good, y'all.
Yeah, war is bad.
We're getting to some real important stuff here. So yeah, definitely, impeachment for Trump would be great, especially because that would mean he would no longer be eligible for all the perks of post presidents, like, because he gets a pension, he gets, socialized insurance, healthcare.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
We've impeached him once, right?
Yeah. Well, you have to convict. Sorry.
Oh,
yeah, and convict and expel.
That's why. Okay, because
yeah,
I was like, if we already did this, then he can't do any of that shit anyway. But he wasn't convicted. Okay,
yeah,
got
exactly.
it. Okay,
so we have to get Republicans on board. Which is why this sudden about face of like, it was just a wee riot is really alarming.
Yeah, because they're not going to vote to convict.
They're talking so much now about unity and unifying. And I'm just like, what?
Yeah, come on. No, we can't. How do you unify with these fucking psychos? They're not even living on planet Earth. They've made up their own reality. How the fuck do you unify with that?
And it's also just like, okay, wait. Y'all were literally ready to run people over in the streets for standing in them.
Right.
And you want us to just turn the other cheek and walk away when someone legitimately is planning terror upon the seat of our government?
Beating police officers to death, and... having IEDs at play. Come on, y'all. This isn't a fucking protest.
I do not understand. No, we cannot do that. There has to be some accountability before there can be anything else. So definitely want expulsion for Rick Scott as well.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
I am just so fucking sick of Rick Scott. Can I tell you? Like, This is, I mean, he is a stain on this entire country.
Yeah.
He is a stain on this entire country. Like, I know some people, like some Republicans look at him as like, oh, this is what's so great. If you just want to be rich in America, you can make it happen. But I think that's one of the fucking worst things about our fucking country is that you can amass enough money where suddenly everything doesn't matter anymore.
Morals go out the window.
And it's just, and he continues to steal. He continues to just, I just like, so many stories here in Florida of all the ways that we could have been better if it were like he single-handedly keeps messing everything up. But regardless of all that, can we just expel him for this though? Like, since y'all don't care about any of that other stuff, like, can we just care about this though?
Yeah.
Ugh, whatever.
In support of fucking treasonous bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I feel like that's a good enough reason. If you were in support of this shit before it happened, and we all know who you are because we have records of it, because guess what? The internet doesn't fucking forget shit, you know? And
No,
so,
it doesn't.
You know, you supported this thing. Oh, it turned out badly. Oh, hey, I actually wasn't. Yeah, the fuck you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were.
And stop asking us to unify while you're still talking about election security under your breath. Like, you cannot be like, you know, Trump should really stop and tell his people to stop. But we really got to do something about election security because it's just a problem. Like, what?
That's such double
They didn't hear
man.
the first part. All they heard was the second part, bro.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
You just negated everything you said.
What are you doing?
The second half of what you said.
And if you care so much about election security, would it kill you to bring it up in a year? I mean, we don't have another presidential election for 4 years.
Right.
So we can totally table this until, you know, we're out of the clear. Like, we're in the clear. Really, can we just transfer power? Please.
And this is so stupid because like even the Department of Justice, like everybody basically that knows anything about this has come out and basically said this was the most secure election we've ever had in this fucking country. You know, like we've taken extra steps because they knew this was coming.
But they're
that
the
people
deep state, Brent.
Oh, right. So that's the thing. Yeah. Everybody just becomes part of the fucking conspiracy, you know, even though they're judges and shit that were elected by Trump and he put them there and then they threw his court case out. Oh, now they're in on it. They're in on it.
They were immediately conscripted into the deep state.
They got paid off by the pedophile Satan cult, whatever. Fuck.
Mainstream media, I'm going to need you to permanently retire the white working class term, because as we can see from the people who were there, we had a whole lot more than working class people, right? We had some CEOs, we had some real estate agents, we had a bunch of military people with some pretty good ranks and experience. We had a lot of law enforcement folks. Like, please stop saying white working class. That's not what it is.
No.
And I implore people, like I don't know who said it or whatever, but it's like they reminded us, because I think one of the biggest things we understand is like what happened on Wednesday wasn't surprising, because it was basically like what happened exactly after Reconstruction and what happened during Jim Crow.
Oh, no shit.
And I want you like think back to all those fucking pictures of lynched bodies. The people in those crowds were not like your local like bums that live under, you know, bridges or whatever. No, they were the judge, the like prosecutor or the like city attorney. Like, they were the business owners. It was the town.
Yeah.
It was the town. Like,
right.
It does not, it is an ideology that is not based on class. When are y'all gonna get this?
No,
please.
No, it's
like,
not just
and it's not to
people.
say that class has nothing to do with it, because a diminishment in what it meant to be a local owner is absolutely important to the conversation, but it's not just about that. Like, you gotta let that shit go.
Right.
It's so much bigger than that. So please stop talking about them like that, and please also start taking them seriously. Mm-hmm. Deadly seriously.
Yeah. I mean, again, this isn't just a comic relief thing where like, oh, he's just so stupid, man. He's too stupid to hurt anything, really.
Exactly.
I mean, that's kind of what the vibe I got for most of the 4 years with Trump and presidency, is that he's just too stupid to like, I mean, he's really stupid and doing bad stuff, but he's too stupid to do anything really bad. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's
why? Because everybody keeps thinking he's a 12-year-old that just needs time out, as opposed to a powerful cult leader with lots of resources.
Yeah.
Like everyone thought, you know, I'm not even gonna bring up Jamestown. I'm not gonna do it. But listen, the shit is deadly serious. You got to stop. We call this episode in jest Insurrectionist LARPing, because there is no doubt there is a contingent of people who were there who were absolutely playing that role.
Oh yeah,
and didn't think twice about what they were doing as being important, because we all know we live in this sort of weird simulacra now where things hatch online and they seem so unreal, and then you actually start doing them in real life and you're like, holy shit, how did I get here? Yeah. We get that. Like, this is something we're dealing with all together because this is our reality now. And so there were definitely some people there who were LARPing, but those people never stopped to think that they were cover for people who weren't there to do that.
Right.
And that's the problem with enabling this kind of shit.
Yeah.
And that's why everybody needs to be held accountable, because we need everybody, we know, like, before they start playing, like, first of all, we already knew what was happening on Parler. That's what's so wild to me.
Parler, like, I mean, they just say anything on Parler, you know, they don't even care. They don't think that anybody's looking at it at all.
They're doing all of this in plain sight and everyone just thinks it's not serious, so they're not paying attention. And it reminds me so much of how we just collectively forgot how during basically all of Jim Crow and for years after that, people have been terrorized in this country by mobs very similar, like that look just very similar to the people who were doing this.
Oh yeah.
Like, and it's just like, everybody's just like, oh, this isn't real. This isn't America. This isn't America. And it's like, no, it is uniquely America, actually.
Yeah,
no, it is.
Absolutely America.
There's a whole context for this. And so Eric Foner, he is a historian, great historian. He has this wonderful quote that's like, what is it? It's like, the history we were taught could not explain the moment we were living in. Right? So think about it. The history we were taught could not explain the moment we were living in. And it is so incredibly true that it has to change. The way we talk about the history of our country has got to change.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't think the whitewashed America's always right, yeah, we may have done some bad things, but it was for everybody's good in the end, and wonderful, you know, rugged individual patriots are what keeps this country a turning.
Right.
That ideology, that corrosiveness of that, which is true in parts but untrue in so many parts, right? Like that is what's playing into people believing that they own a country so much that they can literally piss on it.
Yeah.
Like this is mine.
This is so mine that I can abuse it if I want to.
Exactly. And I don't think we want anyone to believe, like, that is not patriotism. That's nationalism.
Right.
Period. That is nationalism. It is not good.
Well, and it's this cult following because it was like the institution that we're all claiming to love so much is now gone against the guy that I'm obsessed with. So it's almost not even, you know what I mean? It's more just like, hey, my guy is more important than the institution. It's not even nationalism. It's just cult following. That's it. You know what I mean? Because they're following the person, not the establishment, you know, of democracy in America and what we actually stand for.
Which is definitely not okay and should be against everything that, I don't know. You know what? I'm not going to shit all over this. It just is.
Here's what should happen. No.
Exactly.
Every person should be better than this.
But I just, we certainly have to start thinking about how we're going, because this really cannot happen again.
No,
right?
We can't have this. We can't.
So we're going to need all sorts of actual reforms to ensure that. But part of it really should be, we need to re-examine how the fuck we're teaching K through 12 history.
Absolutely.
And it's not to say that, like, I want this new, I don't even know what it needs to be. It just can't be what it currently is.
Right.
Like, I mean, it has to be different.
More nuanced than the shit. I mean, and I was homeschooled, so the history I got was really wonky, man. Like, it was just fucking, like, Christianity was the main thing that saved us all every time, you know, and all this stuff. But, you know, and so that's crazy.
It's just so illogical. I don't even understand. We got to get our hands on these books because I got to read them.
Oh, man. I'm actually looking.
I really want to compare them to I don't know, reality.
I'm like looking at ordering a bunch from Amazon. I finally found some of the curriculum that I grew up with, so I'm gonna order that. Yeah.
You should.
And
Yeah,
we'll
we're
read
gonna-
some of it on the show and
we're
shit.
gonna
It's gonna be
have
great.
Because some of the stories you tell me are wild and I need proof. Anyway, we have to rethink the way that we're teaching it, and obviously it needs to be age appropriate. But the thing is like we still have I don't understand why people can't understand that you can rally behind a multi cultural understanding of America. I don't despite all the hardships, bitch, we're all still here and trying to make it better. What I don't understand, why we can't just get our heads around that. Why is it we're laboring under this idea that you have to all assimilate into a belief system that's not even real, right? It's not real. No. Okay. It's not, or technically not the case, right?
Yeah.
Because we cannot talk about America as a country without talking about all the other bad shit that it did to become the country that it is today. All of those things have to be it just has to be. But this idea that we can't transcend that into a vision of America in which most of us can get behind and feel good about. We're never probably going to feel 100% great, right? Because our government still does really shitty things in our name, even to today.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. That's not that is 100%. But we have to be able to have a shared history that acknowledges that we all existed here for years, right? For years, not just in the 70s, a bunch of Asian people came and it's no, bitch, they've been here forever.
In the 70s.
What are you talking about? Literally, this is...
And they got to work on those railroads in the 70s,
And it's I feel like, we're all losing because of this. We all have lost. We lost out on, being Southern and being here in America. We lost out on so much history that happened on the West Coast that we barely even cover.
Right.
We cover, the Great Westward Expansion, maybe the Alamo.
Oh yeah, the Alamo. Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. That's Davy Crockett.
That's pretty much it. Oh yeah, we cover the railroad for a second, and that's it. Yeah. But all the other movements and history of how the West came to be, which is really interesting and different, we don't have that.
No,
it's not you. That is something you get.
It's so
if
limited.
You're interested in it in college, and that's bullshit.
Because if you're having to retract every time they do something horrible, you don't got much of a story left.
Except for George Washington chopping down that cherry tree.
Yeah, which isn't even true. I had to just make it up at that point.
It's just our country.
Yeah, it's really sad.
We're still very young. I think that's why so much of Europe laughs at us.
Yeah, we're like the dumb kid that's 17 getting drunk, and they're all oh, they just got drunk for the first time. Fucking,
they're gonna figure it out. Oh boy!
Just wait till you're our age. Okay.
I'm really, the thing that I think I'm most on edge about is the fallout. What did this just signal to people who already have an issue with us? What did this just signal to other folks who are better capable of planning and doing things logically? What intelligence was just reaped from this moment? And how is that going to come back? Because it always comes back, right? That's what we learned. Didn't we learn that with fucking the Oklahoma City bombing? That's what we learned.
Yeah, there was a backlash.
We cannot take anything that we do in the name of the U.S. government for granted. That it has externalities that we cannot see. And
so now we've gotten onto this whole... and because as a response to what just happened, Twitter went and permanently banned Trump from Twitter. And now that's having its own backlash, because now they're saying, "Oh, communism," they're silencing all the voices. The free speech
people have totally forgotten what happened on Wednesday. Nothing about what happened Wednesday matters anymore. It is all about the free speech now.
That's it. And Twitter, like, shutting down Trump's account is basically just like Igor going to Dr. Frankenstein and being like, hey, I'm not going to allow you to make a second monster, okay?
Basically.
Even though, that monster's still out there killing people, 5 total right now, and it's like, but you're too fucking late, man. You're late to the fucking party. You already created or aided and abetted in creating this fucking monster, and now it's getting people killed, and you're like, oh, okay, don't make another one. It's too late.
Yeah.
It's too late.
It's funny. I'm watching too, all the, like, Amazon, Google, they're taking Parler now off of their Play stores, and it's like, thanks.
Too late. Again, too late. Yeah. Right.
Okay. But this is a little late.
Yeah.
And also it's just a question of,
and everybody's like, oh, but
this is just going to be such a big free speech headache, and I'm just not looking forward to it.
I know, right? We already have a tough time talking about that.
We do, because we have people who refuse to believe that there are any limits to it, and that every single thing that can exist to show, like, to express speech means that it is compelled to express all speech. Right. And it's like, it's not even, that's not true.
No.
It's just it's just not true. And then it's like, Twitter, for all of its come lateness, they're always in a tough spot, because at the end of the day, I cannot believe right now I am empathizing with Twitter and Jack Dorsey. But at the end of the fucking day, if they had have kicked him off 2 weeks ago because they were like, nope, he's going to incite a riot on the 6th, you would have had a gaggle. No, what am I saying? A gaggle. All of the Republicans basically being like, what, this is against free speech and da 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 da.
Yeah.
So it's like we almost have to wait for the worst shit to happen, because excuse me. We, as non-Republicans, have to wait for Republicans to do the really shitty, irresponsible stuff we see that is going to happen from the shit that they do before anybody believes us, because we're abused. We're in an abused relationship. My God.
Well, they're just constantly gaslighting us. Like, no, it's not that big a deal. Until something like this happens. And look what they're doing. They're already trying to do, like, whataboutisms and stuff, and downplay, like, what actually happened.
Brent, it's a we riot. It's a wee riot.
It's a wee. It's
a wee riot. Okay.
It's so wee.
Anyway, that is all I'm going to say on the matter for now, or that's all I care to say.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we've covered it. I think we've covered all the outrage that we have, or at least we were talking about this week about it.
Yeah.
And and I'm sorry, folks, if this conversation was kind of all over the place, because it is all over the place. There's so many. It's like a basket full of fucking problems with it. And so just reach in and pull something out, and there's a part of this where it's just like, what the fuck? I mean, even the macro of it, to just see that an executive used the bully pulpit of the office, which is already one of the biggest problems of the executive branch as it is, to attack a whole nother branch of our government.
Right.
Like,
it was one branch attacking another, like starting almost like a civil war, like what they all want. It's this branch versus that branch.
Yes.
And
then to know the branch that's getting attacked had their own defectors inside the house.
Right.
They're in the house.
They don't even care. They're like that bad. Like, you know how, okay, here's the thing. Like, when a bad guy is in a movie, in in an action movie or something, and the real telltale of how bad they are is that they kill their main, like,
co-conspirator.
They kill one of their own, that didn't do the job good enough.
Like the way that The Dark Knight opened. That's when the Joker was not to be fucked with, because the Joker literally killed every single person that walked into that job with him. You don't trust those people.
Exactly.
Like, you can't.
And that's literally what Trump basically did.
Josh Hawley, you just threw away your whole despicable career for Trump. You just threw it away. Your state hates you now. Yeah. Your state legit hates you.
And it all because of what? Like be loyal to the guy that's on his way out? I
think for Josh Hawley it was complete political gamble, and he bet the house and lost. I don't gamble. I don't know.
He should have blown twice on the dice before he rolled them.
Yeah.
For the good luck.
Take the advice, Hawley. Because I guess that could be your new career, professional gambler. So yeah,
Seriously.
that is
Hey, you're willing to take risks, so I guess
big ones based on nothing.
Right.
Like so many people tried to stop you. So many people tried to stop you. Like,
I don't think you've thought this all the way through. Check this out. Come over here. Let's talk.
so many people.
Look, buddy.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, let's go directly to some type of way. So we're gonna start this year, new us. We're gonna try to start having some smaller shows, and kicking back some more stuff to our patrons. So we're gonna skip over Big Be Crazy, and patrons, you're gonna get that as well. And we're gonna just go right on to some type of way this week.
And it's gonna be a full episode of Big Be Crazy. So that'll be cool.
It'll be nice
for the patrons. Yeah.
Stop that away. Stop that away. Stop that away. Yeah. It's a fucking motherfucker, man. You fucking feel some type of way. Yeah.
All right. So my some type of way actually is very much in regards to what we were just talking about. And I'm on Twitter a lot, and I find that lately I'm saying a lot less and just reading a lot more, as I'm going through a lot of these right wing people, and I follow like several right wing, folks, from content creators to just whoever, politicians and whatnot. And as I'm like looking through and stuff, and it's so crazy to see them basically doing this whataboutism that I had referenced earlier to Black Lives Matter, and trying to draw some sort of connection. It's like, well, it's about time we started taking the same tactics that they do, it's about time we did the stuff. They've been doing it forever, and we're just doing it this once, and look how it's blah, blah, blah. As if it's somehow fucking analogous to the Black Lives Matter protests, which it's not. Mm-hmm. This is not the same fucking thing. 5 people don't die at a fucking Black Lives Matter protest, okay? Like, if a cop was beaten to death at a Black Lives Matter protest, are you fucking kidding me? Like, do you know what would happen? Like, give me a fucking break.
And when we
They're
say
not
that,
bringing
we're
bombs.
I think you're talking about like actual Black Lives Matter organized rallies. Like, because that's the thing too is that's so disrespectful about it is conflating what happens after the peaceful organized rally,
Right?
By people who it's not even clear have any relation at all to what's actually being marched for.
Right. And none of that shit tends to happen until after the police come out en masse and abuse the fuck out of the crowd. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that's like, and because shit doesn't ever seem to ever get broken or burned or looted or anything until after the cops show up and use overuse of force, which is the thing that they are protesting.
Not to mention the fires they be starting.
Yeah.
But it's like, go ahead, babe. I'm sorry.
So drawing that comparison is just so fucking dishonest because it's just not the same goddamn thing. You're not going to find 2 IEDs, at a fucking Black Lives Matter protest. You're not going to find
zip ties
for kidnapping government officials and shit.
The fucking government officials were doing the kidnapping.
Yeah. I mean, it's just insane. Like they were like fucking. That was literally their goal. And not to mention like what it's all for. Like Black Lives Matter is out there because police are literally murdering members of their community in the fucking street and walking away scot-free.
An actual measurable injustice.
Yeah.
Like
that we actually know is true.
A metastasized wound that cannot heal because people's blood continue to be spilled. People's lives continue to be given over to the prison industrial complex. Like it is an entire, like it is fucking killing cities. I mean, I don't understand how people can't see a very real measurable harm versus a lie.
Yeah.
The election was
people
stolen.
Believing the most obvious stupid fucking lie that I've ever heard in my life. That this election was stolen, and their reasoning is, but there were so many people at the Trump rallies. There was like a lot of people. And I watched a Biden rally, and there was, like, nobody. So, like, and we're, like, super obsessed with, like, flags and stuff. I don't see any, like, super obsessed people for Biden. Mm-hmm. So, we won.
Like,
what the fuck?
The nerve to think that you are logically airtight because of crowd size.
Especially when you have all this evidence that demonstrates that we're actually more responsible. We don't do crowds. Crowds are sort of something you're not supposed to do right now. I know, it's crazy and weird. But there's this thing called a fucking pandemic, dipshit. Like, come on. And it's by definition the argument of from ignorance, you know, or the argument from personal incredulity. Like, I can't understand how X could be true, therefore X is false. Like, that's exactly what this is. Like, just spelled out so much, you know. Just because you can't understand it doesn't mean that your conclusions are true, you know. And this one's just so fucking obvious. I mean, it's almost like they're just trying to not, they're doing the same thing I used to do with information, was just trying to not see the information that would demonstrate my conclusions to be false. They're just looking for anything that they can pile up in their little stockpile of, this is why I know I'm right, you know, and skipping over all the shit that demonstrates that they're wrong, you know, and it's just so sad, you know, but it's like, then they go and do this whole Insurrection Act, you know, clearly like they're to execute officials. I don't know if that's what their goal was, but they had zip ties and a fucking noose. And like bombs.
Nooses.
Yeah.
What's the plural of
niece? Niece.
Right? That's exactly what I was going to say. Like, niece. Makes perfect sense.
Oh, God.
And not only that, people overheard them talking about wanting to hang Vice President Pence. So they had a plan for what to do, because Vice President Pence was a traitor. He betrayed them.
By just not overturning an election, which
by
he didn't even feel like he had the power to do.
Which is saying a lot for Mike Pence.
Right. Because Mike Pence has been there, like, I get told more, like, from the people that I, you know, used to be close with in that community. They said, oh, we weren't actually voting for Trump. We were voting for Pence. That was, you know, who we were voting for. You know, and that was...
Womp womp. They both were awful the whole time.
He's, I don't know, he's even scarier, I think, on a lot of levels. But...
Absolutely.
You know, yeah, because he's not stupid like Trump. You know what I mean? Like,
we don't have to go
calculated.
that far. But I think the Republican that is capable of winning over people because they're not completely odious, right, is a much scarier Republican. You're right. Yeah,
absolutely. But yeah, so I was just getting sick of that fucking comparison. That's what it was, and it's a false equivalency. There's no possible way you could not see that you know. These are two different things, you know. People protest because you got to remember too. They protest wherever they're at, you know what I mean? Like they just pick get wherever they can get the permit for, you know, and that's where they protest, you know. And then the police show up, and then sometimes things get out of hand, you know. But this was a calculated attack on one building that people flew over state lines to get to be able to be a part of. That is not fucking a protest. Like, if it was a protest, you just, like, when's the protest happening in my town? You know what I mean? And we'll just do our protest.
You don't even have to
we
do
don't
all
go
that.
to, like, one place and be like, we're going to take over a whole fucking building. That's not a protest. That's an insurrection.
Yeah.
In order to stop a legislative process.
Fiction. That is the thing that I think is, at the end of the day, talking about Black Lives Matter makes no fucking sense. It's a complete misdirect. There's no reason to talk about it like whatsoever. It is not material to the conversation. What is more material to the conversation is that fucking bomb that went off on December 25th and leveled a whole part of downtown Nashville. That is very much like important based off, part of this.
Yeah, based off of another lie.
Exactly, because what we're seeing is very real harm being done to our country for very real, unreal things. Yeah. And that is terrifying because it's going to be very hard to stop this from proliferating. Very hard for like the little pieces, for people to not pick up little pieces and keep making them mean something and making them mean something. Yeah. insidious, and we have to start dealing with the reality of that and stop, because Black Lives Matter is a whole nother thing. That
Right.
is about police corruption and accountability. That is about whole cities being taken down by, unaccountability of fucking police officers. That is about, basically like the constituent power and, the very real effects of the drug war and anti-blackness and white supremacy. Like, that is a whole separate thing.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with what's happening right now. Like, that's like being like, well, there were riots in France, and so like, listen,
It's about
riots
as related as
happen
that,
for
yeah.
so many different reasons. But what we're talking about right now is how we have an entire ecosystem of fake information boosting people to do real violence.
See, and this is exactly why, like as a skeptic and as a atheist, a lot of times you get asked, what's the harm that can be done? I mean, people want to believe what they want to believe, and you should let them do that, because what's the real harm? This is the real harm of believing things that aren't fucking true, and having such a weak sauce fucking epistemological standard for, coming to be able to determine what is true and what isn't. When you have that weak ass framework like that, this is just going to keep happening.
Yeah.
Because anybody can, everybody's got their own little sets of facts, and that's just not the fucking way facts work, And so this is the damage, and religion, I feel like, and people that believe stuff like that, it's the starting place, for things like this to happen, because it's the same epistemological framework.
You gotta have
right. Yeah.
Because like this, and that's why, and it's so interesting. It's becoming that's why people are saying QAnon is a religion, because it's like either you get it or you don't. And they don't waste time trying to get you to get it.
No.
They're just like, oh, you're not a believer, I'm moving forward.
Yeah. Either believe it and move on, or
exactly.
shut up
And the
and get out of
fear
here.
is what happens to the people who don't know what they believe.
Right. That's it. And don't know how to determine,
Evaluate, exactly,
what to believe. And or not be able to find the distinction between what they think is true and what it actually is true. You got to have that critical thinking of being critical of your thinking, and make sure that, hey, what I think is true, like, how do I tell if this is actually true? They don't do that. They just go, what I think is true, I'm done talking.
Yeah.
I just think it's true. It's true, and then they start there. And then if you prove it false, I guess to the level, maybe they'll change their mind. But most of the time, it seems like they won't. Even if you demonstrate that what they believe is false.
We have to
we see it
figure
with
out a
Christians
way.
all the fucking time.
We have to figure out a way, because this is silly. This is just, you know what? That trivializes it. This is just,
it's a disaster. I mean, this is dangerous. This is why I feel like we need like internet fucking, I think we need some sort of
regulate the shit out of it.
Yes,
No,
regulate
no.
the fucking shit out of this, because this is dangerous.
It is.
If it's false
so
information, it needs to be just an internet policing whatever thing.
And the thing about it is, because I think the impetus sometimes is to just like blame the internet, and we don't really have to blame the internet. We don't have to do all of that. The interesting thing is we have proof of how much right-wing organizations are filtering their information through to people on social media platforms, and how they proliferate. And we understand how the actors at social media platforms, a lot of them, have allowed this to happen and are making money hand over fist because of it, and are seemingly okay with the chaos it's creating. Like, we have ways to hold actual real people and entities responsible. And the question is, do we need to lose our entire democracy before anyone's ready to do that? And then we don't have the power to do so anymore.
Right. And that's the problem with what you were just saying earlier about, like, we have to wait for harm to be done. Because sometimes when the harm's done, it's too late. Like, it's already over, everything's broken down, and now we don't have a democracy because we had to sit here and wait for our democracy to fail for anyone to be like, hey, maybe maybe this might be a problem.
Yeah.
No, like, we got to catch it before it's too late.
Yeah.
And that's fucking now. That's right fucking
It
now.
was really Reconstruction. We're like 150
Well, we're sort of past that. I can't really go back. I
Well,
would. and go back.
Like, honestly, I think the very, very, very last Civil War widow just died, I think this week or last week. So, I mean, this is not ancient history, y'all.
No.
It
people
really
are still
isn't.
alive. I mean,
well, the very last person.
it was like 150 years ago. That's like, I heard somebody say, that's two 70-year-old people that lived and then died and were born back to back. That's it. That's how, you know what I mean? That's how long ago. That's not long, man. It's not even a full, I mean, it's like just over a full generation. You know what I mean? Of like a person's entire life. You know? That's crazy.
That was a great some type of way, Brent.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. That was been bothering me.
So don't fall for it, y'all.
Don't.
It's a canard. It's a canard. It's just not right.
No. So what's yours? What's your some type of way?
You know, my some type of way this week. As we know, COVID is still a thing that is happening.
What?
I know, right? It's just
that went
really
away. Like
wild.
a miracle just went away.
That the pandemic is like the second most important news
I know.
this week.
God.
It just doesn't make any sense.
No.
But anyway, so COVID is still happening. And of course, the U.S. is way behind other countries in how quickly we are acquiring and administering the vaccine. Mm-hmm. And it's for so many different reasons. But one of the reasons is because it seems we have some folks who just refuse to do the job that needs to be done to make sure this is done in any sort of orderly way. Like, we are desperately lacking leadership. There's just like a giant vacuum. So here in Florida, our lovely governor, it's just, no one should have to deal with this many inept people.
Right.
In government. Like, this is enough to make you just. So anyway, this week, a CNN reporter asked him, what's going on with the vaccine in Florida? I'm real interested as well as a Florida resident, because it doesn't seem possible right now that's even the plan. So let's hear what he had to say to a CNN reporter about, when Floridians can expect to get the vaccine,
Right.
Why? What has gone wrong? But Governor Ron DeSantis wouldn't even let me finish asking my question. Take a listen. Governor, what has gone wrong with the rollout of the vaccine that we've seen phone lines jammed, websites crashed?
There's a lot of demand. I think at the end of the day, excuse me.
If I could finish my question.
You just said what has gone wrong, so I'm answering the question.
If I could complete the question, though.
So you're going to give a speech, or are you going to ask a question?
With all due respect, Governor,
you asked the question. I'm going to answer it.
I'm trying to finish my question.
No, you're giving a speech. You asked the.
Does that remind you of anyone?
Yeah, it sounds very fucking familiar, doesn't it?
I just cannot trust anybody who has watched Donald Trump over the last few years and has taken the lesson that what I need to do is be more like that man.
I need to be a bigger dick to the media. That's it. That's how you really come out looking good.
I mean,
a dick to the media.
Woo, I understand wanting to take advantage of the people that he's used to get in power. I do not understand. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. But I just feel like, this is not it. And also, bitch, you at work. Can you act some professional a little bit, please, sir? You are at work, as is she. Can you treat her with some respect that comes with? My goodness.
And sometimes questions have context that need to be addressed as to it's almost like she should have, I feel like she should have reversed all that stuff and said all the things and then asked the actual question at the end, maybe, because that way he wouldn't be able to interrupt.
No, because he would have just interrupted her anyway and said, get to the question.
Oh, that's
this
true.
is all.
That's
I don't
true.
need all. What? Get to the question.
Yeah, you're absolutely.
It's like he's
good
child.
God.
He's a child.
He's a fucking child.
That's the question.
I am trying to ask you
You're going to ask how many questions? You get 3? They only got 1 question. Why do you get 3?
With all due respect, Governor, I'm just asking if I could finish my question.
You didn't. You finished the question.
I did not. My full question is, what went wrong with the rollout of the vaccine when we've seen phone lines jammed, websites
So you're
crashing?
repeating your question.
To complete it for you, Governor, we've seen websites crash and also senior citizens waiting overnight for the vaccine.
Where was that at?
We've seen it in Duval, Broward, Orange, and Lee County.
And why was, like in Lee, why did that happen? Did you investigate why?
That's my question to you, Governor. You're the governor of the state. I'm not the governor of the state.
Okay, but you didn't investigate why that, like in Lee County, why was there a big line? Did you investigate why?
Could you tell us why?
Because we distributed vaccine to hospitals, and the hospital said, first come, first serve. If you show up, we'll do it. So they didn't use a registration system. There wasn't anything that was done, and there's a lot of demand for it. So people are going to want to go ahead and get it. So are you saying there was no plan then from the state to make sure that senior citizens didn't wait outside overnight? So the state is not dictating to hospitals we're not dictating to Carlos Magoya how he runs his operations here. That would be a total disaster. These guys are much more competent to be able to deliver healthcare services than a state government could ever be.
Wow.
He's a very
Unbelievable.
Can I tell you, everything about that is just so frustrating, Brent.
Yeah.
First of all, let's break this shit down.
Yeah.
Okay, so incredibly combative at your job. Incredibly. Just awful. Then you seemingly don't know what's going on in your own state.
Yeah, that was what came through the most, I feel like. You know? And that the fact that he doesn't feel like he has to.
No.
It's like, I believe in small government. What are we even doing here right now? I should be at home, watching the fucking Office that I paid, a couple, like $5 for a month. But whatever, that's the thing. I want to be watching The Office right now. That's my point.
Like, literally, the state government shouldn't even have to show up to a press conference. What is this? But, okay.
We're basically anarchists,
and
okay?
To just concede, like, to just believe and then immediately concede that you can do no better than the heads of hospitals.
Like, yeah, it's like, again, like, what are you here for then, man? Like, what are you doing? Like, I just put it all on there. I'm a delegator,
Exactly.
I just delegate.
That's just what I do. But then it's like...
And big business, like, clearly has this in the bag, okay?
Yes.
Government, no.
And it's still bullshit,
What?
Brent. It's still bullshit. You know why it's bullshit? Because they would never do that in an actual business.
Right.
In an actual business, if they had a product, they would never just sell it to you without saying things like, you can't use our product for this, or if you're going to take this many, you got to make sure this or do that. Like,
yeah,
what are you doing?
Regulation
I don't
involved.
understand. Like, everyone has scorecards. Everyone has rubrics that they have to follow and things that they have to do. So even if you didn't want to regulate them on the front hand, which you should have because it's a fucking vaccine in a pandemic, you could have at least regulated them in the back end. So, for example, okay, I've sold you the vaccine. You get to determine how you're going to give it out, but I'm going to be monitoring you. And if it seems that not enough big of a percentage of seniors got it, or not enough percentage of people, frontline workers got it, and it seems to be all people who are basically just higher ups in the hospital getting it, that's going to be a fucking problem. So you're telling me we have no oversight?
No, yeah.
None?
Because they're telling you the problem. Like, hey, people waited all night to be able to get this fucking vaccine. And he's like, I didn't even know about that because, frankly, I don't care.
He might as well.
I mean, they should have showed up earlier. Oh, I don't know. Like, it's all back on them, Well, they shouldn't have. I mean, I'm not involved, okay? Look.
Basically.
Look, that's up to them how they distribute.
Okay, well, why are we paying you a salary, and why are you living in our quarters? What are you doing here?
Nothing.
What would you say?
You do here.
Thank you. I am so, these are not the standards that we have put into place for professionalism, for people who are holding public office, particularly Republicans, high-level Republicans holding office right now, are too low. Mm-hmm. They're too low. They're too low.
Yeah.
They're too low. And this is just, I mean, it is going to be very interesting to see Florida's going to be behind, obviously. We're just going to be behind.
Yeah.
We're going to be behind because we've played, like Russian roulette with this thing the whole time, which has led to us having ridiculously high numbers, of course.
Absolutely.
And then we have ridiculous amounts of unemployment, which means a ridiculous amount of people without health insurance and without even wanting to go to places where they could potentially get health care because of confusion about whether you get things for free or are covered or whatever. And it's just, and it's clear we have a state government that's like, hot potato, hands off.
Yeah.
Good luck, citizens.
You do it. You're the one that's doing it. I'm not doing it.
Good luck. Which basically is going to come down to responsible, basically employers will do it correctly.
Yeah.
And irresponsible employers won't.
Right.
And which will lead to us continuing to have high COVID numbers even through higher vaccination rates because
we're too fucking stupid to elect any competent leaders. I mean,
I don't even know if we're stupid as far as just
we're pretty stupid.
I just don't think we've been invested in. I think this election showed hugely that as Democrats in the state, we definitely got to do better.
Yeah, we need to get out there more.
We need a Stacey Abrams committee down here for sure.
Absolutely,
for sure. I mean, every state needs they need 10 people who do what Stacey Abrams do. Please do not make a bunch of magical black women in every state to fix every problem. We're not going to do that. We're going to do, because this is just. It is out
Christian bingo card.
It's
Christian
out of control. It's fucking out of control. Yeah. So I really do think people need to also second guess why they are so happy to put people who hate government into government jobs.
What? That's what I'm saying.
I just feel like if you answer a question like government should always be exceptionally small to the point of non-existent, then you're disqualified. You're just disqualified because we have collective action problems that need collective action solutions. This is it's the reality. We can't keep playing this game of everything is just a rugged individual who's going to pick everything up and fix it. It doesn't work like that. No. Also, shout out to Showtime right now. They have a Reagan 4-part documentary that's very good.
Yeah,
I really implore folks to watch it. If they have, I think Showtime right now has a 30-day trial, so get your life. They have some pretty good documentaries, and that's really kind of it. So
and it was because of that, I saw what all the old punkers were talking, because I didn't know much about the thing, but Reagan on punk stuff, when I was coming up was a big part of it, Reagan's the devil and shit, and I didn't understand it. So this was fascinating for me because I was this is what they were going through at the time, and this is why they're so upset. It was fascinating. It's a great
because everything about the myth making of that time period is so illustrative to exactly what we're going to right now.
Yeah.
It is, when you understand that whole time period, everything about it was all just made up bullshit that they made happen. And it had, of course, terrible effects. We're still living with the terrible effects of it. Yeah. When you really, truly break that down, it is so clear why these folks are losing their goddamn mind and storming our Capitol. Because it's a wonderfully contained myth. And it is very attractive, and I get it. But it is just so reductive and useless. It's useless. It's useless. We right now are paying so much money for healthcare because we just refuse to accept the fact that we are a group and we get better rates when we do it together.
Right.
That is so basic.
Yeah, and it's so obvious. I mean, it's such an obvious problem.
It's exactly what your job is doing. They're utilizing the groupness to get better rates. It is exactly the same thing. It is, oh my God. Yeah. Anyway, we got to have better conversations about what we expect from our leaders, because this is not it.
No, this cannot happen.
This is phoning it in.
Yeah.
So, in the spirit of it being a new year, new traditions, Brent and I thought we'd start something new this year. And I know a lot of times we end the show with some type of way and then we go straight to announcement and then the show is over. So we kind of sometimes always leave the show in kind of a negative aura. And we're not doing that anymore. No. We're going to leave you with something great every week.
A happy note. Yeah.
Yes. We're going to call this the Tell Me Something Good segment.
Tell me something good. That was the interstitial. It's a workshop. I'm just workshopping. But that sounded pretty good. We saw what? That's like commercial level. But.
Yeah, sure. So this week, we actually lost a lot of people this week. A lot of people died. I saw that like Tommy Lasorda died.
Jesus, really?
One of the reporters for the Pentagon Papers, that guy, he died.
Damn.
Somebody else died too. I don't know, but a lot of people.
How is this a happy note? What the
I'm
fuck's
sorry,
happening? What?
But like they died after living very wonderfully full lives.
Oh,
sorry.
Okay. Gotta complete that.
I just meant like it's actually happened, not just like, oh no, it's so sad. I mean, they were like all 80s, 90s, way up there. I mean, it's sad, but it's like they've lived wonderfully full lives.
Right.
Anyway,
Gotcha.
So another person that we lost this year was at the beginning of this week was a man named Ted Delaney. Listen to this, y'all. So he had a 60-year career and at Washington and Lee University, which is in St. Louis, Missouri. And he started as a custodian at Washington and Lee. And he accumulated enough credits to graduate at 41 years old. And then he returned a decade later as a history professor and became the school's first black department head.
Wow.
His name was Ted Delaney. Yes.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
That
Holy
is
shit.
badass. That is badass. So when this man lived, age ain't nothing but a number.
Right? Seriously.
He lived it. Like age ain't nothing but a number. So if you are thinking I am too old for anything, don't.
No.
I think that is just so incredible.
That is awesome. That's so cool.
That is just, and it's such the well of self-belief you have to have in yourself.
Yeah.
Because people go out of their way when they think that you are beneath them to treat you as such.
Right.
And if you're not strong-willed, you will begin to believe it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's easy to believe in this culture that we have, this competitive based culture. Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
And where everybody gets their self-esteem from the job that they have.
Yeah. What's this fucking what? Like, okay.
I know.
I hate that.
Americans don't know how to live. Again, that's why Europeans laugh at us.
Right. Yeah. Yet again.
Yeah, another reason
they laugh at us.
We're tiny, unformed beings. No, just kidding. But like for real, y'all, just like Mads Mikkelsen, okay? The man is like a wonderful like engagement of modern masculinity, and it's just so chill. Like I just want to be like, dudes, you can be just so chill. Do you know that?
Right.
And like still have like
you can still be
cool.
You're
like,
still a masculine guy and everything. You're just not a fucking asshole. Like, you know.
Yeah, like, dude, just go get a cool haircut. You don't need to like buy an $80,000 truck. You good.
No,
chill out.
Exactly.
Anyway, let me stop talking about masculinity. Like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. But anyway, yes, wonderful. Like I just read that and I was like, I have got to share that because that's brilliant. So
I could actually tell you about masculinity. Let me explain something to you.
In a Paul Warburton verse, because to you, masculinity has to be a Paul Warburton. You already fucked this up.
I'm a tough guy.
You've already messed it up. Here you go, just continuing the stereotypes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Terrible. Anyway, yeah, so don't give up on your dreams, y'all. And age ain't nothing but a number.
It's not. It really isn't.
Yes. You can accomplish anything.
Right?
What did we just turn into?
I don't know. Get your bootstraps, everybody.
Like we don't even know how to end the segment because talking about positive things makes us this uncomfortable.
We don't know how to do that. Yeah. That's just weird.
Anyway, So if you haven't been keeping up, so last month we did not have a show, but we were actually around doing stuff. So you could have checked us out on the 2020 holiday cheer. It's kind of past now because Christmas is over, but it's still on YouTube. So, and it was fun. So you should go watch it. It was a very good time, and we loved being there to support Sarah and the atheist community of Polk County and the Foundation Beyond Belief. It's all great. Check it out. Please donate money to Foundation Beyond Belief. They're doing great things. Also, we did a New Year's kind of petty gripe episode with the Amy's on Secular Soup. So check that out. Brent, you were recently on.
I was actually on the Right to Reason podcast, and I was the person that they were pulling a prank on. It didn't really work out, I think, like they thought that it would, because I just don't really embarrass that easy.
At all.
And but definitely check that. And then it kind of led into a debate,
it was fun,
which was really good. It was one of my, I think, the better debates that I've done to this point, because I've been on that show quite a few times. But I thought this debate went really well. So I would definitely check it out for that one. Yeah.
It was good. And also, everybody was making fun of themselves, so...
Yeah, that's true. Because Robert kind of, he sort of made fun of himself, too. So it kind of evened it all out. It was great. It was a lot of fun. We just had a good time.
Okay, patrons, thanks for hanging with us. Again, you're going to get some bonus Biggest Be Crazy soon. And yeah, that's it. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us. If you want to reach us, please reach out to us at unapologetics666@gmail.com. We have a Facebook group or a Facebook page that you can just look up, Unapologetics. Just look that up and you'll see it. We also have a community to hang out at the Unapologetics Underground Secret Party. So check that out as well. And, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's great.
Yeah.
So what do we say to the haters, discriminators, and masturbators shamers?
Fuck off.